Greetings. I'm Pearl John from Logos Management, and let me extend a warm welcome to the other 167. I'm delighted that you could join me today as we continue the series Dare to be a Daniel in the Corporate Den. Dare to be a Daniel in the Corporate Den. And what we intend to do is to capture life-changing lessons from the life of Daniel and his friends. Last week, we spoke of the theme, walking through adversity is an opportunity to advance. And we said, 1, adverse circumstances are crafted for a greater purpose. 2, circumstances turning from bad to worse does not mean God is not in control. And 3, exile does not mean extinction. This week, we move on to the theme, competencies that count. And I'd like us to use Daniel and his friends as a standard and consider how we measure up. So if you turn with me to Daniel chapter 1 and verse 4, I'd like us to consider a range of competencies that are perhaps key for success in the corporate den and that we are called to serve. Let me share with you 3 distinct sets of competencies that Daniel possessed. 1, the physical attributes of appearance and aptitude. So what are those physical attributes? 1, no blemish but good looking. In an age where beauty is made with talcum powder, mascara, foundation, and a range of external aids that makes heroes of the real life larger than real life, which is several instances are very different from the truth. To stand apart without any makeup is a tough proposition. Recently, I watched a clip of one of the Bollywood actors considered to be the ladies' man without any makeup, and he looked what he really was: old, weary, with wrinkles on his face, and worn out to say the least. But here was Daniel and his friends that were without any colors or makeup. They were without blemish. The old saying, inner beauty is visible on the face, is perhaps apt. They were young men without blemish. You have heard of the phrase dark and handsome, black beauty. So it's not the color of the skin or the shades of the skin, but the inner beauty that radiates out. The question is, are you without blemish? And is the inner beauty surfacing in those outer contours? The second part is wisdom and knowledge. In an age where most in the peer groups were given to whiling away time playing and gaming, Daniel and his friends were pursuing a different course. They wouldn't dance to the tune of the world, but were engaged and engulfed in a far richer pursuit that kept them current on the affairs of the land, the political, economic, social scenarios. And they were in a position to go beyond, to exercise discretion and convert their knowledge into wisdom. Knowledge and wisdom are 2 different facets. Knowledge is knowing and wisdom is applying the knowing. Where knowledge sets the boundaries of wisdom, wisdom thrives in leveraging the boundaries. The question is, do you seek after the knowledge and wisdom? Is that consciously what you are after? Remember Proverbs chapter 9 and verse 10, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the holy is understanding. May the Lord grant you grace to don the mantle of wisdom and knowledge. So we looked at the physical attributes. Let's move on to the second element, which is the mental makeup. So what made the mental makeup? 1, they were quick learners and demonstrated finesse. Verse 4, Daniel and his friends were quick to learn and understand. Harvard Business Review defines learning agility as a mindset and corresponding collection of practices that allow leaders to continually develop, grow, and utilize new strategies that will equip them for the increasingly complex problems they face in their organizations. Learning agile individuals are continually able to jettison skills, perspectives, and ideas that are no longer relevant and learn new ones that are, the researchers say. Daniel and his friends were quick learners. They were in a position to take stock of their environments and determine what are those essentials that they need to invest their time and effort on and get on top of, and which are those that they need to imbibe. Are you quick at learning? If not, perhaps today is the day to recalibrate yourself and recommit yourself to learning quickly. Learning quickly calls for an unwavering focus and an unsatiable curiosity and an unending need to learn. The learning agile individuals, the Harvard study pointed out, were more socially active, more likely to take charge, more focused, more original, more resilient, and more inclined to challenge the status quo. Daniel and his friends were not only quick learners, but they developed a sense of finesse. Finesse is effortlessness and mastery of skill. You are so good at it that it flows through with minimal effort and with absolute grace. So these higher order skills come out of practice and application of mind. May you have the grace to pick these up and apply in your context. Secondly, ability to serve in a higher role. As an OD consultant consulting with very many top-notch clients in the country and elsewhere, I often hear clients speaking of hiring fresh blood who have the potential for growth 2 levels higher. Assessing the potential of individuals was not an easy task, for often communication skills tend to cloud the true potential of individuals. Ability to serve in a higher role calls for cognitive capabilities, emotional intelligence, and social skills, along with a range of other competencies. These are essentially endowed by nature and cultivated by nurture. Daniel and his friends were equipped not merely for the current but for the future role. Thus, in my view, they were constantly deepening their learning and honing their skills, and that enable them to be better prepared to handle the demands of the role onto the next level, to serve at the king's palace. Have you consciously been working on operating at 2 levels higher? If not, perhaps this is a good day to start. Let's move on to the third area, spiritual strengths. A recent Harvard study highlighted that the spiritual dimension is perhaps a crucial facet that differentiated truly successful people from the not so successful ones. Daniel's spirituality was evolved. Let me highlight 2 aspects of Daniel's spirituality. 1, conviction that goes beyond convenience. Daniel and his friends were strong in their intent that they will go by their conviction rather than convenience. It was perhaps convenient to fall in line with the king's order and eat of the king's platter. But Daniel and his friends were aligned to a different king, the King of Kings, and thus allowed precedence to their convictions. Secondly, willingness to derive strength from the bread of heaven rather than the bread of the heathen. The source of their strength was the bread of heaven. They were keen on the bread of life than the bread of lies. They prioritized the deeper aspects over the surface issues. Do you consider the deeper implications of your surface actions? Perhaps today you need to take a call to derive strength from the bread of heaven and invest on the spiritual dimension. This is Pearl John signing off, The Other 167. Thank you for watching The Other 167 and look forward to seeing you the next week in continuation of this series. Have a wonderful weekend and a wondrous week ahead. God bless.